So, a few days ago, Weight Watchers announced that they would be providing free programming this summer for teenagers between the ages of 13 and 17. And I have some problems with this that I want to talk about. Hi everyone, my name is Carolyn Vig and I am a Health at Every Size personal trainer and an online health and wellness coach. So if you know what Health at Every Size means, then you can probably guess that I have some issues with what Weight Watchers is planning on doing this summer, targeting programming at teens. And my issues with this decision go so far beyond what my normal problems are with dieting and diet culture in general. Because when you start targeting children with diet programs, you've taken it to a whole new level. So, Weight Watchers has not yet announced exactly what type of programming they are planning on launching this summer that will be free for teenagers. But they have said that it is going to be focused on helping teenagers learn healthy lifestyle habits during a critical age when learning about taking care of yourself is important. And now at face value, this sounds really great. You know, I even have a similar mission when I create content that is targeted towards a younger audience. However, what we know about Weight Watchers is that they are not a healthy lifestyle company. They are a diet company. It's even in the name. Weight Watchers implies that their work focuses on weight, on dieting, on weight loss. And when a company like that says that they are going to come out with programming for teenagers, I get kind of worried because no matter how wonderful or wholesome the programming may seem, when it's connected with a company that sells diets, you can pretty much bet that it's not going to necessarily be a Health at Every Size program that they're offering. It is probably going to be a program that focuses on diet restriction, on calorie restriction, and on weight reduction. So with that being said, I want to go over some of the biggest reasons why this is a bad idea. So while many health professionals and news outlets talk about childhood obesity as a problem, one thing that we know for certain is that putting kids on diets will not solve this problem. What it will do is cause a host of mental and physical issues with a new generation for years to come. You see, when you put kids and teenagers on diets, it puts them at risk for developing nutritional deficiencies, binge eating patterns, mental health conditions like depression, and a preoccupation with food and their bodies. It sets them up to have poor body image and low self-esteem for the rest of their life and is the #1 risk factor in developing an eating disorder. Yeah, I'm gonna say that one more time. Being on a diet as a child is the #1 risk factor for whether or not that child will develop an eating disorder later in life. So basically, the scientific research shows that there are significant risks for putting children and teenagers on a restrictive diet or a weight loss diet of any kind. So why does childhood dieting have these negative effects? I mean, there's going to be multiple reasons. For the nutritional deficiencies, that one's pretty obvious. If the child isn't eating enough, and especially enough high quality food, they're not going to be getting enough nutrients to feed their growing and developing body. And when it comes to the more psychological and emotional side effects, the reasons get a little bit more complex. They're a little bit less well studied, but this is what I believe. When dieting is introduced in the childhood and teenage years, it sets the precedent that their weight is one of the most important things about them in terms of their health and their acceptability in society. So if they are not able to successfully lose weight and achieve an ideal healthy body as the result of dieting, that can really mess with their self-image and their feelings of being included in their peer groups, and it can lead to having bad body image and lead to depression and other mental health struggles. Dieting also teaches children and teens that food restriction is an effective way at managing their weight and their mental and physical health, which if you look at the research at the effects of dieting in adults, it's just not true. Dieting is not an effective way at managing weight, since 95% of dieters regain all of the weight back within 5 years. And there's no significant research to show that weight loss directly leads to increased mental or physical health. And finally, childhood dieting teaches children and teens that their bodies are not to be trusted. If they are being forced to obsess over their food, to count calories or points like the Weight Watchers method, and to just be hyper aware and controlling of what they're putting into their bodies, they are being taught not to trust their body's natural signals for appetite, food cravings, and really just what it is that they need nutritionally. Our bodies are designed to be able to take care of themselves. And of course, that can get a little bit complicated when you're in a food system like ours that has a lot of hyper palatable foods and companies that are trying to make foods that are maybe even addictive. However, that just because those kinds of foods exist doesn't mean that our own hunger signals are totally useless. Children need to be able to learn how to trust their own bodies, because when they don't, that is what leads to body dysmorphia, body image issues, and even eating disorders down the road. The bottom line is, Weight Watchers is a diet company. And while I totally think that all adults have body autonomy and can make whatever choices they want about what types of programs they want to engage in, I do not think that children and teenagers should be allowed to engage in diet programs, even with parental consent. Weight Watchers is a company. They are trying to make money and make a profit off of the services that they sell. And the research shows that when you introduce dieting into children at a young age, they continue to be dieters through adulthood. And I bet that sounds pretty good to Weight Watchers. So, what in the world would make a parent consent to letting their child participate in a weight loss program that is more than likely to cause them mental and physical health problems in the future? I believe there are 3 main reasons. The first is that parents are concerned about their children's physical health. And in our weight stigmatizing diet culture, parents are told from all over the place, from lots of different sources, that if their child is overweight, that they are at risk for a number of different negative health outcomes. And while this may be true to a certain extent, dieting is not the way to address this problem. There are much more effective ways that have much lower risk of side effects to help give children a good chance at having healthy adult lives. The second reason is that parents don't want their kids to be the odd one out. Parents are often scared of their children being bullied or ostracized from their peer groups, and I don't blame them. If I had a child, I would absolutely be worried about them not fitting in. And the truth of the matter is, we live in a weight stigmatizing culture. As unfortunate as it is, people in larger bodies are discriminated against, and people in thinner bodies live with certain privileges that people in larger bodies don't. So I completely understand why a parent would want to set their kid up for the easiest social life possible with the least chance of bullying by making sure that they are afforded thin privileges. However, it's so important to remember that dieting does not work in the long run for sustained weight loss. Even if a 14-year-old is able to lose a certain amount of weight on a Weight Watchers program, the fact of the matter is there is a 95% chance that they will regain that weight and more within 5 years. So even if you are worried about your larger bodied child getting bullied because of their size, putting them on a diet is not an effective way to avoid that issue. And the third reason that the first 2 kind of boil down to is that adults have their own internalized weight stigma and deal with body image issues themselves. For this reason, I don't think it's appropriate to let parents consent to their child being a part of a weight management program or weight loss program. The parents of today's teens did not grow up in a weight neutral society. They all have their own internalized fat phobia and weight stigma that they would need to work through before being able to make a good choice for how to deal with their children's weight. So if putting a child or teen on a diet is not an effective way to manage their health or manage their acceptance in their peer groups, what can we do instead to help children and teens in larger bodies? When it comes to physical health, while there is no clear link between weight loss and health, there is a clear link between other lifestyle factors. For example, encouraging children and teenagers to engage in physical activities that they find enjoyable is a great way to set them up to be healthy, active adults in the future. Similarly, encouraging children and teenagers to experiment with cooking and trying a variety of different foods in their day-to-day lives is a great way to make sure that they are getting a variety of nutrients and will eat a healthy, varied diet as adults. Instead of putting children and teenagers on regimented diets and workout programs, it would be much more in their benefit to help them explore intuitive eating and intuitive movement so that they can develop a strong, healthy mind-body connection that they will be able to take with them into adulthood and use to continue to make positive choices for their health for the rest of their lives. When it comes to social and emotional and mental wellness, I think it's so important to make sure that children and teenagers understand that there is so much more to them than the way that they look, both in terms of their body size and other aspects about their appearance. So encouraging them to participate in activities that they are passionate about, to explore who they are as people and what they find interesting instead of just how they look, is imperative for their mental and emotional well-being. Also, being very clear with especially teenagers about the reality of weight stigma, fat phobia, and bullying in our society can help them defend themselves more appropriately when they come across it in their own life. Instead of trying to shelter them from the unfortunate realities of diet culture, education and empowerment would be a much better route for helping them navigate it through the rest of their lives. Because the truth is, whether a person is in a larger body or a smaller one, we all interact with diet culture and we are all affected by fat phobia and weight stigma. So by educating children and teens from a young age about the realities of this and what they can do to help stop it and reverse it, empowers them to feel better about themselves and not fall prey to the negative effects that diet culture may have on them. And finally, and this is probably the most important point, is that if you are worried about the mental, emotional, and social wellness of a child or teenager in your life, the most important thing you can do is make it known that you are available for them to talk to without judgment, that communication is open, and that you will provide them with the support that they need to deal with any kinds of issues that they might be struggling with. Having access to a strong support system and to professional support like a therapist can go so far in helping a child or a teenager deal with the struggles that can come from living in a diet culture. So, in conclusion, Weight Watchers should not be providing free programming to teens and children. Trying to force children to conform to the standards of a broken culture will not help them, and in the end, it will only cause them more pain. Our teens don't need to change. What does need to change is the culture that others them based on the size of their bodies. So please help spread this message. If you care about this at all, please share this video and tweet at Weight Watchers. Let them know that we are not going to stand for this. I hope you enjoyed this kind of ranty video. I just feel so strongly about not putting children and teenagers in a really sucky situation that is just going to have negative effects on them for the rest of their lives. So I hope you feel the same way. I would love to know how you feel about this topic. Please comment below what your thoughts are. Subscribe to this channel if you want to hear more from me, or you can follow me on Instagram at Carolyn Vig, or contact me through my website, carolynvig.com. All right, everybody, I will see you next time.